Unleash the ancient power of Afrocentric storytelling. Ever read a story that doesn't just move straight ahead but circles and spirals, pulling you deeper with every turn? Or seen a film where the whole community is the hero and the ending is just a fresh start? This isn't some science fiction idea. It's an ancient way of storytelling, one that's echoed across continents for thousands of years. Yet it's often a hidden gem in today's filmmaking. So what if you could tap into this incredible tradition? Introduction, the legacy, and why it matters now. Welcome. We're about to explore the heart of Afrocentric storytelling. For centuries, these ways of telling stories weren't just for entertainment. They kept history alive, passed down wisdom, and built incredibly strong community ties. Think about it. Long before writing was widespread, the spoken word, full of rhythm and meaning, was how culture thrived across Africa. From the griots of West Africa, those amazing historians and musicians who wove together family histories and cultural epics, to proverbs that packed deep truths into just a few words, these traditions were, and still are, vital. But this isn't just a trip back in time. These storytelling methods, refined over generations in Africa and its diaspora, are incredibly relevant for us today. They give us a way to make films and stories that are not only different and engaging, but also truly meaningful and culturally rich. People are looking for real, diverse voices, and Afrocentric storytelling offers a fantastic set of tools to make your creative work stand out. Today, we'll look at some key techniques, unique ways to structure stories, the power of symbolism, and the energy of oral traditions, and see how they can shake up your storytelling, starting now. Segment 1. Thinking outside the straight line. Unique story structures. We're all familiar with how most Western stories, especially in movies, tend to go: a clear beginning, action builds, a big climax, things wind down, and then a resolution. It works, sure, but it's not the only way. Afrocentric traditions are packed with other ways to tell a story that can really change how an audience feels. Take cyclical or spiral stories. Instead of a straight line, these stories often loop back to themes, events, or feelings, but each time you see them with fresh eyes or from a new angle. Think about the seasons changing or the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. These story shapes echo nature and ancient wisdom, hinting that time isn't just a straight road, but more like a deepening spiral. A story might end right back where it started, but the characters and you, the viewer, are definitely changed by the trip. It builds this feeling of everything being connected, where past, present, and future are all tangled up. So, how could you use this? Imagine a movie where a character keeps facing a similar challenge. Instead of just making the problem bigger each time, each encounter tells us more about them and their world. There's even a cool idea called the ancestral circle technique that taps into this, where lessons pop up through shared experiences that tie the end right back to the beginning. Then you've got communal stories. In many African traditions, the story isn't just about one person's quest. It's about what the whole community goes through, their struggles, their wins. The main character might even be representing everyone, and what they do affects the whole group. That's pretty different from a lot of Western stories that often zoom in on one individual. Movies that use this approach can create a really strong sense of shared identity and purpose. Think about it. One person's actions can send ripples everywhere, and the community itself can be the main character, with its growth being the heart of the story. These structures really highlight how much we depend on each other and how our strength comes from our community and vice versa. Non-linear storytelling is also a big one. Events might not be shown in the order they happened. Maybe they're grouped by theme or connected in a way that's more like how our memories work, kind of jumping around, linking different moments through feelings or ideas. This can pull the audience in and make them think as they piece the story together like a puzzle. It lets you explore characters more deeply and show that truth can have many sides, What's so powerful about these structures is that they kind of free the story itself from just one way of doing things. They push back against the idea that there's only one right way to see or tell something, opening up fresh paths for creativity and connection. When filmmakers move beyond just straight-line stories, they can create tales that are more layered, that better reflect how complicated real life is, and honestly, are often more surprising and gripping for the audience. They ask for a different kind of attention, a willingness to listen more deeply. Segment 2, More Than Words, the Power of Rich Symbolism. Afrocentric storytelling is brimming with symbolism, a visual and metaphorical shorthand that packs complex ideas, beliefs, and cultural values with amazing depth. These symbols aren't just pretty decorations, they're loaded with meaning, history, and spirituality. They add layers that can turn a simple story into something truly profound. Think about Adinkra symbols from the Akan people of Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. Each of these cool designs stands for an idea or a wise saying. You've probably heard of Sankofa, often shown as a bird twisting its head back towards its tail. It basically means it's okay to go back and get what you're in danger of leaving behind. It's all about learning from the past to build a better future. Imagine working a symbol like that into your film, maybe on someone's clothes, a carving, or even as a recurring image. Suddenly, your story has this deeper philosophical layer, and there are tons of other Adinkra symbols talking about wisdom, strength, unity, and what it means to be human, a whole visual vocabulary for your story. Animal symbols are also super powerful across different African cultures. The tortoise or turtle, for example, often stands for wisdom, not giving up, and cleverness. Anansi the spider, a famous trickster in West African and Caribbean folklore, is all about smarts, creativity, and how the little guy can outwit the big ones. These aren't just animals in a story, they're classic characters carrying ages of meaning. So if a filmmaker uses an elephant, might mean strength, memory, and leadership. A snake could represent change, danger, or healing, depending on the specific culture. Getting these subtle meanings allows you to tell a story that's saying a lot of things at once. Colors also mean a lot. In many traditions, red can signal life, blood, spiritual power, or sacrifice. White might mean purity, ancestral spirits, or peace. Black can represent maturity, spiritual energy, or the unknown. Gold often points to royalty, riches, and spiritual purity, like you see in Ashanti culture. Now, these aren't the same everywhere. Meanings can change from place to place. But paying attention to specific cultural color uses lets filmmakers add another layer of communication that people pick up on without even realizing it. For example, the Pan-African colors red, black, and green are now known worldwide as symbols of unity and African heritage. The real magic of this symbolism is how it can speak right to our subconscious, stirring up feelings and ideas that words alone can't quite get to. It makes for a compact, almost poetic kind of storytelling. When these symbols are woven in thoughtfully, they don't just tell the audience what to think. They draw them into a world of shared cultural understanding, making the whole experience richer and more personal. For filmmakers, this means, you've got to do your homework. Understand where the symbols come from and what they really mean, and then work them naturally into your story and visuals. Movies like Black Panther did an amazing job of incorporating African symbolism in costumes, sets, and even character journeys, and that's a big part of why it hit so hard around the world. Segment 3, The Beat of the Story, Learning from Oral Traditions. The very foundation of Afrocentric storytelling is its strong oral tradition. For thousands of years, stories weren't mainly written down. They were spoken, sung, performed, and lived. This energy injects a unique life into these narratives and gives today's filmmakers some amazing techniques to play with. One of the key players in this tradition is the griot, or jelly, from West Africa. Griots are so much more than just storytellers. They're historians, family record keepers, poets, musicians, basically the living libraries of their communities. Their performances often include music, with instruments like the kora or ngoni. A griot doesn't just list facts, they become the story using their voice, gestures, and rhythm to pull the audience in. Filmmakers can definitely take a page from the griot's book. What if your narrator wasn't just some all-knowing voice, but a real character with a personality and a link to the story, maybe even looking right at the camera sometimes? The film itself could even feel like a griot's performance, with the camera work and editing echoing that oral rhythm and pace. African filmmakers like Ousmane Sembène often saw their role as similar to a griot, using movies as a way to speak for and to their people. Call and response is another core part of many African oral traditions. A storyteller might say something or ask a question, and the audience jumps in with a response. It's a group effort, a shared experience. It's not just sitting back and watching, it's being part of it. So, how do you do that in a film? Well, direct audience shouting back might be tough in a cinema, but filmmakers can create moments that call for an emotional or thoughtful response. Maybe a character looks straight into the camera, or they ask questions that get the audience thinking. For instance, if you're telling a story about a whole community dealing with something big, could you make the community itself the main character instead of just one person? If your film is about heritage and memory, maybe a Sankofa-style structure where the past keeps looping back to shape the present would be really powerful. When it comes to symbols, don't just pick something because it looks cool. Dig into where it comes from and all the different things it can mean. How can you subtly weave it into the look of your film, in costumes, set design, or even how you frame your shots? Think about Queen of Katwe, for example. They authentically used East African fabrics, which added so much cultural richness. To tap into those oral traditions, think about your film's voice. Does it need a griot-like narrator? Could your dialogue have that poetic, proverb-like rhythm? Can your music be more than just background, actually becoming part of the storytelling, kind of like the drum in an oral performance? And hey, don't be afraid to mess around and try things. The point isn't to make a stiff copy of something old. It's about letting these powerful, proven techniques open up your creative options. It's about finding real ways to tell your stories that vibe with the spirit of these traditions. That might mean mixing techniques, tweaking them, or giving them a whole new spin for today. Black Panther is a fantastic example of how Afrofuturism can blend ancient cultural vibes and story elements with a futuristic look, creating something totally new yet deeply connected to its roots. Remember, these aren't dusty old museum pieces, they're living, breathing tools. They offer a way to make films that are not just entertaining but also culturally important. Films that can help us understand each other better and appreciate all the different ways people experience the world. By tapping into Afrocentric storytelling, you can create truly unforgettable experiences that hit you right in the soul. Conclusion and call to action. So, we've taken a quick spin through the amazing world of Afrocentric storytelling, and believe me, we've only scratched the surface of its incredible power. From story structures that play with time to symbols that murmur ancient truths and oral traditions that make stories burst with life, this heritage is a bottomless well of inspiration. The techniques we've talked about aren't just quaint things from the past, they are powerful, living tools, ready for a new wave of storytellers like you to pick up. They can help you unlock stories that are richer, deeper, and hit harder than ever before. They offer a way to free up our imaginations and our screens to tell stories that show the real, vast beauty of human experience. That power is just sitting there, ready to be used. This isn't just about looking backward, it's about pulling all this amazing wisdom into right now, into your next script, your next film, your next big idea. So, I really hope you do this. Go explore more, find the stories, the art, the music. Listen to the people who are carrying these traditions forward. Try out these techniques in your own work. Don't be scared to shake up the usual ways of telling stories. Tell your stories your way, authentically, using this incredible legacy to create things that grab people, open their eyes, and stick with them. Unleash this ancient power, and you could change not just your films, but maybe even how we all see the world. Thanks for hanging out and exploring this with me. If this got your creative gears turning, do all the good stuff. Like, subscribe for more storytelling deep dives, and definitely drop a comment below telling us how you might use these techniques. Let's get those stories told.